It's our relationship with ourselves and our attitude towards change that is profound. And the problem is a lot of the way we've chosen to be is the result of fear that if we're not like that, we'll lose something. Whereas actually in staying like that, we'll lose something. So we fear exactly the wrong thing. We fear the lack of boundedness, but we're also cutting our own legs off in the process. Yeah. So we talked about a functional mindset, a relational mindset. In relationship, what type of person are you normally? Are you the joking person, the playful person? Are you the serious person? Are you the quiet person? Are you the inquisitive person? Are you the explorative, the adventurous type? Are you the fun-loving, party-going animal? In relationship, what mind do you have on? And is it always one, or do you vary? How do you compare yourself with others? Do you think the others are always better than you, or do you think you're better than others? Is it a story of comparing? Relationships are complex dances, and the way we dance is very informative. And then the last one is, which emotional mindset do you have on? What is the emotion you feel most of the time? And are you aware of feeling it? I mean, do you, even as I ask the question, do you know which emotion you have on most of the time? Are you easygoing? Are you critical? Are you feeling like it's never good enough? Are you feeling like you're free? Are you feeling slightly anxious about what's going on around you? Are you on your guard against people taking you for granted or not seeing you? God changes us through changes the circumstances. He doesn't twiddle the knobs and change us inside. He changes us through having to get into situations where the pattern doesn't hold. And Jesus was constantly challenging his disciples. They thought it should be like this. And he says, no, it's not like this, it's like that. He always surprises people, because if he comes the way of their justifications, he'll just increase their justifications. So he has to cut across it. He has to surprise us. He has to, cut across our expectations and our certainties. And it's not to destabilize us. It's just to say, open yourself up and see that there's a bigger picture that you're part of. You are a bigger person, and you're only living in 10% of your own house. I mean, it tells us, you're the son of God. You're the daughter of God. Live like that. And you say, oh yeah, nice thought. Oh, but I'm still worried about, tomorrow. So, what's in our head doesn't help us much. In fact, if anything, it stops us, because we live in two worlds. We say, oh yes, I'm the daughter of God or the son of God, but I'm scared I haven't got money for my rent this month. So we hold that together quite happily, but don't see the incongruence of it. But becoming aware, that's the big issue. Once you're aware, then you've got different options, because you can say, well, that's interesting. Elizabeth does it like that, and Gab does it like this. How did you do that? I always do it like this. Because our behavior is sustained by the mind talk. This is the way it should be. Otherwise, we'd say, well, there are 10 different ways of doing it. Let's try it one each day and see which we like the most. So the whole issue tonight is just, how do we change our minds? How do we put on the mindset we want? How do we put on the mindset that actually affirms that where I am now is where I need to be? The things I'm struggling with most now are the very things I need to learn, because that's what I'm struggling with. I wouldn't be struggling with them if I didn't have to learn them. And so it's almost like giving me a different attitude towards the moment, and my engagement with the moment, and my process in the moment, because it's also treating myself with respect and with care, with tenderness, knowing that I don't want to overload myself and try and change the world today. But today, enough unto the day are the troubles thereof. Today, I just want to sort this out. But let me go and do it. It's a difficult thing to do. let me do it. And you take the risk, and it's a bit painful, but you do it, and afterwards you think, that was good. I'm relieved I got that done. And then and so we're managing our own process, our own change, but understanding our own limitations, and not beating ourselves up for our limitations, and knowing that we can get help. We must be careful of judging ourselves, because the judgment often is what entrenches the intransigence, the inability to change. I'm supposed to be strong, I'm supposed to not be this, I'm supposed to be like that, and what will they think of me if I, admit that I'm not holding it together, and so we almost mess up our own ability to change. And I think, a mindset is a very dangerous thing, just because it just stops us being open to seeing the bigger picture, to accepting other people's truth, because we almost imagine people who think like me are okay, people who think differently are a threat, and that also doesn't help, because it's like you were saying, it's like it feels like you're getting forced into a box, and we're doing it to ourselves a lot of the time, because we shut out people who are different, or who are in some ways threatening. And I think for me the biggest realization is that the mind I have is not what is. It's like my mind is like a set of clothes. I can take them off, put them in the wash, and put some clean clothes on a different mind. We too often think, that's me, I can't change, I'm stuck with myself, I'm stuck with this point of view, I'm stuck with this attitude, I can't change it, and that in a way is almost self-defeating. I think God would say to us, are you willing to change? When Jesus says, leave everything and follow me, for me it says, leave all your attitudes behind, leave your assumptions behind, leave your fears and anxieties and ideals. A lot of ideas are unreal, and that's what nails us, because they're unreal, and yet we think that we can still hold them. I mean, that's, Satan often tempts us with idealized pictures of exactly what we want, or would want to be fulfilled. So to leave those is quite hard. I mean, when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness, he was tempted with things that he was going to do anyway. He was going to feed 10,000 people with 2 loaves of bread. So Satan says, well, take these stones and turn them into bread. Okay. And he said, no. Throw yourself off the temple, and the angels will catch you, and you won't hurt yourself. And Jesus said, no. So, it's and the other one was, I'll give you all these kingdoms if you worship me. He says, no. So he gives us often what we want, or what seems good, but there's a catch. I'll give you this if you do that. And often that catch is what catches us out. And so idealization is a very big trap, because we want the right thing, but often for the wrong motive. It's a shortcut, or we want to do it in our strength, or we don't see it as what God is doing. And it leads to a lot of disappointment, because we think, well, this must be what God wants. And we push ourselves into it. We spend 10 years doing it, and I think it all falls apart. And think, what was that about? And God's also saying, well, what was that about?